Hello everybody, welcome to Zebra Studio, welcome to my channel. Right, I've been away for a while. What am I going to be talking to you about today or showing you? I will be showing you a video clip loaded on, I did put it on my Instagram page. And it's a very interesting video. It's not just a video, it just makes you think. I actually took it from the Critical Collective YouTube page. And there's a man, I don't know, he's a lecturer or a professor, or I don't know who he is. His name is Howard Nicholas, and he talks about the economic policies and international institutions in the underdeveloped countries in Africa. First of all, I don't like the word underdeveloped. So he actually goes deep. He says he's not an expert.
We will not allow Sub-Saharan Africa to escape that. Okay, we do everything to keep Sub-Saharan Africa where it is, also impoverished. It's absolutely vital for the prosperity of everyone else. So let's get clear about that. Okay, and this means all the economic structures, all the global institutions, and the economics we teach everyone is all designed to keep Africa exactly where it is. And whether it is Europe or US or now China, it's always the same. We need Africa to be impoverished because we need those raw materials and we need them dirt cheap. Okay, so that's the message. It doesn't mean to say that there's nothing Africans can do. Of course there is. Okay, but this is the opposition that they're fighting. This is what it's about. Because if Africa does do something different, I assure you living standards of all those in Europe and North America and Asia is going to fall. Okay? And that is a big price to pay. I assure you that the West is not going to allow that without a big fight. Okay, so this is what it's fundamentally about. What I want to show you is how these structures are operating. It's just 20 minutes, so we can't do very much, but just to give you a little bit of an idea. And why I keep the ideology part there is because we are part of the producers of ideology. At universities and academic institutions, we are complicit in this whole enterprise. Okay, so the job of many Western academics is to convince Africans they have to keep doing what they're doing. Okay? And to show them it's your fault that you're poor. It's not our fault. It's your fault that you're poor. You know? So this is what we do in academic institutions, and I want to show that as well. We just start. This is what it's basically about, so you know what it's about, but I want to just show you the extent to which Africa is specializing in the production of raw materials and basic agricultural goods. We know the basic forces that have caused this underdevelopment. We know it's colonization. I will not discuss that very much because my colleague speaker is going to go into some aspects of this. But I do want to discuss the global economic structures, the global financial institutions, and economic ideology, briefly, to give you a flavor of those. Let me start with this. You can't really see it so easily, but if those of you who are interested, you want the PowerPoint, I'm sure we can make it available to you. But the thing that you really need to see is the top line. Okay? And the extent of dependency is captured by this statistic at the top. Okay? And you compare it with all other income groups, and what you see is essentially in that one statistic how dependent Sub-Saharan Africa is on raw material production. Okay? This is the very heart of what makes Sub-Saharan Africa beat. Okay? Here, just to have a look at one very important additional statistic, with all this export coming from Sub-Saharan Africa, how much does sub-Saharan Africa account for in terms of global trade value? We know there are vast resources coming from there, but look at the bottom line in terms of global trade value. Look at that. 0.5%, 1975, 0.95% going down to 0.1. To 0.1. Meaning that with all these vast resources being produced, how much are they getting for it? Nothing. Nothing. This is a very significant piece of data. Then I just want to show you what has happened to sub-Saharan Africa, because what we know, and from all studies, no country ever develops without manufacturing. Okay, producing raw materials will not take you anywhere. Producing basic agricultural goods will not take you anywhere. And let's have a look at how much manufacturing activity takes place in sub-Saharan Africa. We can look over the last 15 odd years, 15, 20 years. And we see manufacturing has actually declined as a percentage of the total. This is percentages of total production in sub-Saharan Africa. How much of it is accounted for by manufacturing? So this figure here is 17% of the total. Most of the rest, when we talk of industry, it includes manufacturing, but the bulk of it is mining. Okay? Raw material extraction. This is the bulk of it. And here we see actually raw material extraction has stayed the same. What has caused industry to fall is the fall in manufacturing production. This is deliberate because we will never, as Western economists, as Western policymakers, we cannot afford to allow Africa to industrialize and start producing manufactures. Okay, so we will do everything to stop that. And I'm going to show you how we actually block that.
Howard talks about, oh my goodness, this is sad. This is so sad. And he answers the questions that I've always asked as a little child. And I'm still asking those questions. But he's mentioned, he's answered me. I got all my answers from what he says. He says that the IMF and the World Bank really don't want Africa to be developed. That is true. World Bank, IMF, they got no interest in helping Africa. Not only helping, this is deeper than what I thought it was. Well, it is deep. But then it's a game. This is a game, all right? Keep Africa down there. Let's borrow the money. It's not only borrowing the money, because you know when you borrow somebody money, they automatically become your slave. So they borrowed Africa a lot of money, and they know Africa cannot pay that money because they know how much they are paying them when it comes to trading the raw materials. So I don't know, but now I understand what happened. He mentions Malawi, that Malawi had a famine, a terrible famine a few years ago. I remember it, and the Minister of Finance there did mention that they took a loan from the World Bank, and the loan was to destroy all the crops, to make sure that they destroy all the crops. So that's why basically our leaders are paid to keep us poor. The African leaders are paid by the rich to keep Africa producing at a low cost, no value, raw materials, and just keep giving it, and then we receive less. They pay peanuts. The money that African countries are paid for the raw materials it's nothing. They pay nothing. So he mentions that we could get out of this, but how could we? We need to have our own manufacturing industries, because there is no country that will ever get out of poverty if they cannot manufacture their raw materials. So there's a solution. We need to produce our own, we produce our own raw materials anyway. So we need to have our own industries, our own manufacturing industries, and produce our own products. But hey, that's not going to be, well, they're not going to allow it. They not going to allow it. They not going to allow it. They will not allow Africa to be independent and manufacture their own products, have their own industries. So basically, it's up to us. If you listen to what this guy is saying, it's not that he's for what's happening, but it's just giving you an insight of the deep stuff, the deep things that are happening. And he answers a lot of questions. He talks about democracy. There's nothing like that. It doesn't exist. It's just the rich ruling over the poor. They make the laws, the policies. He talks about universities, the institutions, anything, education, that these education is designed to continue the process, to continue the economic, whatever, the policy, everything, all the policies, all the institutes, everything just to continue the way it is and to keep Africa poor and block Africa from even starting and to just block them. They actually divide the countries as well. They actually do the division. They help dividing, and we go ahead blaming our leaders that they're corrupt. Obviously, there is corruption, but with the little money that we get, we can do something. It shouldn't go to one person, okay? But then the money is so little that our leaders take it and eat it for themselves because the money is just so little, and then we call them corrupt. So basically, the money that our leaders get, as small as it is, should help everybody else. And we need to come up with our own things, really. Because all the methods, he talks about the models that are at the universities that they design all this thing. They create all this thing. And they teach us Africans that you guys, you poor because you want to be poor. You poor because you're lazy. You poor because you're this. But that's not the truth. It's a game. Okay. And if our children's children want to do something to improve Africa or Sub-Saharan or any part of Africa, we need to work on industries. We need to find ways of developing our countries and creating industries, manufacturing our own products and all that. It's going to take years. It's going to take donkey years. So basically, the rich control the poor, and these rules control the poor. The rules that are put there are just to control the poor. Well, we see that all the time, but in Africa, it's crazy. It's beyond control. It's beyond, because it's poverty and all that together. I don't know what's going to happen with this COVID-19 that's happening, and so we need aggressive industrialization. That's what he says we need, and he says that if the leaders don't take the money that they loan them, they kill them. So Africa is designed to be poor, not by us, but by them. So what is it that we can do? What can we do? Because, I look at it in this way that, okay, people are like, okay, since we got our freedom and since we were our countries, Africa got independence. Africa did not get independence. That's my conclusion.